and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a small town mystery and crime procedural writer and the author of the book or the latest one, Quiet Whispers of the Overlook, none other than Mr. Rodney Carpentier.
Good evening, Dan. How are you?
Well, fabulous, Mr. Rodney, and thank you so much for being part on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure. So I am a approximate 20-year veteran of law enforcement, working both in corrections and as a police officer in New York State. And about 2.5 years ago, I started writing books. I came up with an idea, and that idea became one book, and now into a second book, as we're talking about today. And there's a third book in the works as we speak.
The third book. Looking forward for that third book, Mr. Rodney. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. I'm hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come. The title itself is a powerful image. What are the quiet whisperers, and who or what are the overlooked that these books give voices to?
Quiet Whispers was actually a title chosen by some of my readers. Um, I had finished the second book and I was going through the process, and I didn't really have a title for it. So I put it out to my mailing list and I said, "Hey, does anybody have any ideas?" And I just got the caveat that it had to work well with Of the Overlook, because that's it's the Overlook trilogy, so it has to have something of the Overlook. So and the only other thing I said was I may take uh, different ideas and kind of mash them together. So I had probably a dozen to 20 different ideas, so that uh, I had some things to work with. So some people had said, like, quiet something of the Overlook or whispers of the Overlook. So I kind of put those two things together. And for me now that we're kind of put it in the past, it has a little bit of a religious, Christianity to it. Quiet whispers are kind of a when I looked it up, it was kind of like just kind of like a silent prayer. And it kind of fits in with the themes of the book, that there are a lot of secrets in the setting of where the book takes place in the Catskill Mountains of New York, and that there's things to discover, and then the Overlook is sort of a specific place in the Catskills that I've been to a couple of times, but I kind of leave it a little vague, and kind of use a couple of different places, real places, in place of the Overlook also.
Interesting, Mr. Rodney. So, what was defining moment or series of experiences that compelled you to write this book? Was there a specific whisper you could no longer ignore?
So when I finished the first book in the trilogy, Our Lady of the Overlook, I kind of wrapped it up, and somebody gets arrested at the end for the murder, and there are some breakthroughs in a cold case, but it wasn't finished. So when I went to go write the second book, I really wanted to kind of turn some things on its head, and kind of a lot of things you took for granted in the first book, I wanted to automatically kind of put some doubt in your mind.
And Mr. Rodney, In a world that often rewards loudness and visibility, why did you feel it was essential to make a case for a quiet, the subtle, and the overlooked?
It's a good question. So I think the idea behind um, the quiet is there's a lot of action out front in this novel where the first one was kind of more asking questions and seeing how things develop. This one is a lot more action packed. There's a car chase and there is a rescue and all these sorts of things that are kind of going on in front of you. Meanwhile, um, you learn about some of the secrets and some of the again some of the things you take for granted in the first book. Certain relationships that you think are solid are actually a lot more precarious, and there's just a lot of stuff kind of be behind all this action and stuff that's kind of in your face.
Behind, yes, we want to know those behind. Please read the book itself, people. And how do you define overlook in the context of your book? Is it about people, ideas, emotions, or part of ourselves we tend to suppress?
So the Overlook for me represents a location, and in the first book in the trilogy, it's kind of a place where one of the characters goes as a place to get away from it all. It's far away from the town, it's far away from the hustle and the bustle. She goes up there in the morning and she can kind of see the sunrise. So it's kind of this peaceful, quiet place. Um, and it becomes kind of this representation. And actually in Quiet Whispers, we don't even get a chance to get to the Overlook because there's so much else going on. In the third book, where I'm at in the writing process, we're about to get back there and kind of redefine what the Overlook means for the overall story arc and this location and why it's so important.
Why is so important? That's the big question. And Mr. Rodney, on the writing process and personal journey, the act of listening to a whispers requires a deep introspection. How did the process of writing this book change you and your own ability to listen?
So I had a lot of ideas for the first book, and I really planned that out. And the second book was a very different process, and I needed to kind of listen to where I thought the characters were going and what they were kind of telling me. I didn't want to recreate the same blueprint from the first book to say, oh, these things have to happen in this order. I wanted to kind of again turn some things on its head. So I really had to listen to where the story was taking me. Like I knew certain things I wanted to get out, but I didn't necessarily know how they were going to come out. And I would be in the middle of writing one of the scenes, and all of a sudden, something would appear or a secret would kind of present itself, and I wanted to kind of delve into that a little bit deeper. Um, and we add some new characters to the second book that are going to matter in the long run. Um, so it was just kind of really being like you said, introspective and kind of seeing where I could build on something that I had a really good solid base on. And the second book was kind of more of how do I develop that and kind of take it in a different direction.
And Mr. Rodney, was there a particular chapter or passage that was the most difficult to write emotionally? Can you tell us about that?
Hmm. That is a super good question. Let me think back because now that I've had some space, just trying to think. There is a difficult scene towards the end of the book where um, one of the characters has to confront um, some personal history where she was a victim and she didn't want to see herself as a victim, but now she's kind of come to terms with it, and so she kind of has to confront the people that victimized her. And that was kind of hard because I was taking characters that one was very headstrong, and again, she had to admit that something had happened to her. Meanwhile, taking another character who was an ally in this story so far, it was kind of more of turning her into this heartless kind of almost villain type character. Meanwhile, the person that is the victimizer is kind of trapped in a hospital bed because he's been injured, and that was difficult to kind of face him emotionally, and also to approach as a mystery writer because you're again you're letting out the cards kind of slowly and knowing that there's going to be a third book. I want to set some stuff up, but I want to pay it off just yet.
Hmm. Yes. Interesting, Mr. Rodney. The book likely required you to become a collector of small, quiet moments. What one of the most profound whispers you encountered while reaching out or researching or writing this book?
So I did this book again a lot different than the first book. I had an opportunity early on in the writing process where I was supposed to go to Florida for a conference, a writing conference. And around the same time, there were a number of hurricanes that hit all at once. So, very last minute, like 12 hours before I was supposed to get on a plane, they had canceled the conference because there's so much damage and so much danger down in the part of Florida I was going to. But I had also taken time off from work. I had set it up with my family that I wasn't going to be around. I just was in a mood to go do this other thing. So, I was originally going to put back the time and go to work and I was going to be home. But again, this was all set up. So I reached out to my wife and I just said, what if I took a writing retreat? And we have a property up in the Catskills. And I was just going to go up there for 3 or 4 days and I was going to just write for however many hours a day I could possibly write. And that was a new experience for me. I had never really kind of retreated and focused on my writing like that. It was always kind of built into different parts of my day. Oh, hey, I have 15 minutes here, or I'm waiting for something else to happen, so I'm going to work on it here and there. This was probably, I think, 3 or 4 days of just dedicated time with these characters in this story and just pushing forward. And as much as I like to listen to music or have background noise when I work on certain things, there was a lot of quiet when I was working on the first part of this. And so I don't remember how many words I wrote. I think that's all on my Facebook page when I did a bunch of video updates when I was doing it. But I got a huge head start on the second book because of this quiet time that I allowed for myself.
Quiet time. Indeed. So you explore the idea that what is overlooked is often holds the deepest truth. Can you share an example for the book of how something marginal or dismissed prove to be the central to understanding a larger story?
So we meet a character named Skip, who is a connection to our main character's father. And for those of you that saw our episode on Our Lady of the Overlook, my main character, Mike, is a rookie police officer working for the department that his dad was the police chief. and his dad has passed away, and he's discovering all these things about his father's past. So in the beginning of the book, you get introduced to this brand new character out of nowhere, and you don't understand how important he might be. And so he is actually able to provide a piece of the puzzle that no one's expecting, especially Mike. It kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's something that I'm actually really into right now in the third book, and kind of developing that idea, and connecting Mike's father's past to Mike's present and what's going on with him right now. So the whole character of Skip is this kind of device in the story to kind of start uncovering some of these things and giving a new pathway forward.
Well, that be amazing and interesting to read. Mr. Rodney, so as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short-term goals is to finish the third book. Um, I'm about halfway through the second act. Um, so I really want to get that finished. And then I actually have my next project percolating up here, and I want to kind of take that in a different direction when it comes to the writing, not the writing process, but kind of the publishing process. I've done everything so far independently, and I've met a lot of great people, and I've had different pockets of success with that. This new idea I really think could be something pretty big, especially in certain circles. So I think I may actually take that, do something traditionally published with that. So that would be more of a little bit of a long term goal for the next year to 18 months.
Good luck to your goals,
Thank you.
Master, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be an author like you?
Um, if you have an idea, just write it down. Work
Yes.
work it out. It's kind of like clay. You get that piece of clay, and you kind of just kind of work it and shape it and figure out what it's going to be. There are a million different ways to write a story. Um, different um, processes and tricks and tips and all these different things. And if you have a story in you, figure out a way to put it out there. And there'll be somebody who wants to read it. You can't worry about what people think. You can't worry about reviews. You just need to work on getting that story out of you, and kind of letting things be what they're going to be.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for that advice, Mr. Rodney. And people, stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, and share to the world, just like Mr. Rodney. And tell us, Mr. Rodney, how can how can a leader, Mr. Rodney, or teacher, or a parent use a principle in your book to a better notice the value, the overlooked people or ideas in the sphere of influence?
I think this the idea of um, the character of Mike's mom is she's a tough one, and she wants the best for her son, but she also wants to protect him. So, really look at what you're doing um with your as a leader, a parent, or a teacher. Look at the things that you're doing that are protecting, and the things that you're doing that are holding someone back. You gotta let people fail or trip, or um I use the I coach volleyball for my daughter, and I use the thing, we either win or we learn. And sometimes you learn a lot, and you have to be willing to let that happen, and just know how to soothe those wounds or the damage from the learning process to help them figure out what that lesson is.
Mm. And in the age of digital noise, Mr. Rodney, and constant stimulation, what is the first step someone can take to create a mental space necessarily for this kind of a deep listening?
You got to find that space in your house, in your community, in your life that allows you to have that. um you know People have very different situations. I happen to have a little nook that I can go to. I had a cabin that I could go to last year. And I also, sometimes find solace and a good place to be is just riding in my car. Obviously, not stuck in traffic or frustrated, but if you can kind of just go for that drive and find that place that you allow your thoughts to kind of talk to you, and you need to take that time to listen. um just sometimes you got to take that time for yourself, even if it's for a couple of minutes, to listen to what's going on in your head and allow that to maybe come to fruition.
The book suggests that growth and creativity often comes from these quiet places. How can an artist or entrepreneur actively cultivate an environment where overlooked ideas can surface and thrive?
um I'm not really sure on that one. I think it's a kind of a personal thing,
Hmm.
and you gotta again, you got to just kind of carve that time or that space out, and just allow it to happen.
And Mr. Rodney, if a society as a whole began to truly value these whispers, what is the fundamental way to believe our culture would shift?
That is way over my pay grade. I think I can't speak for culture. All it's got to be an individual thing. It's got to be a personal thing, and you can't control other people. You can't control the rest of the world. The only thing you can control is your reaction. So when something is aggravating, choosing to be silent is a choice. Choosing to be loud is a choice. And um, you can only kind of choose your world and your reaction to what that world's going to give you.
Mr. Rodney, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review is coming sixth season this coming December. Comedy 101 in third season, as well as my food 101 will be sixth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 are coming fifth season. Science 101, Sex 101 in third season as well. And my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101, as well as my Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Rodney, finishing a book is a journey. Now that he's out in the world, what is the one quiet personal hope you have for the readers?
Um, well, selfishly, I hope that they have a desire to read some new and kind of innovative mystery novels, and hopefully enjoy the um, the fiction that I'm bringing out, and feel like they can start this personal journey with me. Like I said, I have ambitions and plans to keep writing, and I'm a new writer, so this is a good opportunity to kind of get in on the ground floor. So I appreciate anybody that wants to come on this journey with me.
Mr. Rodney Carpentier, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Can you please invite our listeners to support your books?
Sure. So, as you've shown on your screen, we are on Amazon, both Kindle Unlimited, book, paperback, and ebook. And if you are more of a personalized and signed copy, you can go to my website, rlcarpentierwriter.com, and you can order a signed personalized copy directly from me, and I'll send that right out to you.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Rodney Carpentier because if you support him, pursue more and more empowering books or series like this to come. So, Mr. Rodney, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it.
Welcome, people. See you soon.